Church family, I'm Kim Taylor, the chair of the SPRC committee, and I am here with Pastor Erik, who will be sharing some information about our upcoming General Conference and what that could mean for Lyman Methodist Church. Before I turn this over to Pastor Erik, I would like to share a Bible verse that God led me to, 1 Corinthians 15:58. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourself fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. Christians are to give themselves fully to their calling. Embrace the work that the Lord calls us to, and understand that it holds eternal importance. And that is for us as members of Lyman Methodist Church and as well for our pastors. The fruit of our labor will not fade away because we serve an eternal Lord who remembers every act of faith. Pastor Erik now would like to share some words with you.
Hello, Lyman Methodist Church family. Today I want to share with you an update regarding my role as your senior pastor. In the next day, the GMC of SC is going to release its pre-conference materials for Behold next week. In that pre-conference packet is a proposal allowing for the conference to move from a part-time to a full-time conference superintendent or president pro tem. Where that's significant for Lyman is, many of you may know that I'm currently serving in a dual capacity as both your senior pastor and as the president pro tem for South Carolina. What I want to make very clear with you today is that the proposal going before Behold next week simply allows the conference to go full-time pending the actions of General Conference. It's only allowing the conference to make that decision if other decisions happen in the larger denomination. What will happen at General Conference? At General Conference, there's going to be a discussion about the future of bishops in our denomination. Two primary proposals are on the table. Option A would have more of a general superintendency for the church and would necessitate a more full-time role for a president pro tem in an annual conference. If option B is adopted, then it does not necessitate a full-time president pro tem, and it's likely that that will not happen. The GMC of SC does not know what the future role of the president pro tem will be in our state. That will not be determined until after General Conference, and our Committee on Superintendency can then meet in response to those decisions made. What I want you to know today is that yes, it is possible that I will no longer be your pastor in 2025. However, that is not yet decided or determined. Right now, I simply want to communicate with you that this is what that legislation means. I'd prefer for you to hear from our SPRC and from me rather than hear in our packets and wonder what might this mean for Lyman. But the question is, what does it mean for Lyman if a new senior pastor is needed? In the Global Methodist Church, pastoral appointments look different than what we've known previously. In the GMC, what would happen is that the SPRC would meet with a projected pastor and have a really frank, honest consultation. Both parties would then be given 48 hours to pray and discern and decide if both SPRC and pastor think that this is the right match. If it's the right fit, then an appointment is made. If it's not, then SPRC and presiding elder continue to look for the right next fit. Lyman is an incredibly healthy and dynamic church following the Holy Spirit and seeking to make disciples of Jesus Christ. This is a wonderful church that is moving forward in mission and ministry, and nothing is going to stop that. The leadership here is committed to the vision and the work that God is doing in this place. I've been reflecting lately on 1 Corinthians 15:58, reflecting for my own calling and the calling for the church. Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 15, he says, "Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain." My calling as a pastor, and all of our callings as Christians and as the church, is to follow where the Lord is leading us. Sometimes we don't know where that is. We may not know a few months out, and sometimes we may not know a few days out. But what we know is that we are going to be faithful to the call that God has given us as individual disciples and as a church. And I'm confident that God will lead each and every one of us, and our job is to simply follow His will wherever it may lead. Thank you for being a great church. We're going to continue pressing forward in mission and ministry, and we're going to follow wherever God leads.